Right, ladies and gents of YouTube, every time I well, become a bit noted for making my own gear, which sometimes is the only time you can get what you really need, and sometimes it can work out cheaper. I get loads of people emailing me, you know, oh, how do I do this, how do I do that type of stuff. So on a suggestion of others, I'm going to just do a short, very short series of how to, or how I do videos. And today what we're going to do is a satchel that's designed for carrying knives, and it's for a special friend. It's for Keith, Zero Pence. I think he's become very well known in sort of the YouTube bushcrafting industry. One, for his generosity, and two, because he's just a top bloke. The very providence in this, and explains a little bit about me. When we was at the preppers meet, Keith was obviously going around, and you know, a lot of people were very much after his knives and so forth, but what Keith was carrying his knives in is was something like that, a little drawstring bag, which to me instantly I thought, well, you know, Keith, if you fall over, you've got your blades in there. Bearing in mind, all Keith's knives don't come with a sheath, because he has a friend make them, and he was going in and out, and you know, obviously showing people his knives in the correct manner. If I remember, I think it was a DD Tart sort of bag, and his drawstring bag. And late one night I noticed, because it was cold, and Keith does, obviously, don't mind me saying, because you know, it's just a fact, he suffers with arthritis a bit. He was having troubles trying to get the actual bag open. So on this, and like I do sometimes when I'm watching people's videos, I think, bing, a little light goes on in my head, and I can sort that out, yeah. And obviously it goes without saying, there's the knife that Keith repurposed for me. So you know, what goes around comes around, people. It's as simple as that. So initially I just thought, you know, a simple satchel type thing, you know, over the shoulder drawstring. It's taken a little while. Should have done this a while ago, but in between a couple of things have happened. Work got very busy. My sewing machine busted. That's because I shoved it off the table when I got annoyed with it. But later on, an insert to this I wouldn't have made if I made it, you know, maybe a month ago or something like that. So ladies and gentlemen, obviously I want to make something better for Keith to carry his knives about and show people than a bag like that, which is what it was in. Now let's just have a look at how I sized it up then. That's generally the mean size of Keith's knives. Obviously they can be smaller when he does neckers, but that's probably the MLD survival knife is the longest one he's going to have in there. So I initially was looking at something about that size, okay? And then I've got some black Cadora nylon. It's exactly the same stuff that they make the Bergen out of. Local sort of material shop sells it. So here we go. I've got 1 metre of this, and they generally come in 1.5 metres length, if that makes sense. So on a working area of that, I'll just put the two knives to one side. They just give me an idea of the size that I needed. Would be that sort of size, but I feel I wanted it a little bit wider. So the satchel, if you imagine, that's the lid part. Make sure I'm in shot. That's the lid part, and that's the body of it. I always, and if you've not got a lot of experience at doing it, cut yourself a cardboard template. Now this template will be that big. That's how big the satchel will be. I think it's 13 by 13, and that will be the lid that folds over eventually on it. And at the back of it, it's going to have obviously a 25mm nylon strap that goes over Keith's shoulder. So what I've done there is, I know now this is square, and that's a very good thing to have, is because when you go to sew it up, each side will line up. It will just make life so much easier if you spend a few minutes making a cardboard template. And again, if you need to go back and make another one, or one very similar, you've saved yourself a lot of time. So on that, we know why, we know that's going to be roughly about the size of the finished item, and that's how I'm going to do it. Now, as it's black material, what I've got is some dressmaker's chalk, quite easy to get, only about 20 pence. So rather than me trying to measure things out, and you can always make mistakes and so forth, or just be, you know, 5mm off, I'm going to do 2 bodies and 1 lid as I go across, just to make it easier for myself. And as you'll see, I'm going to come away from the edge of the material, because that's where it starts to fray a little bit. This side of the material, never assume that that's square or a right angle, because somebody's just in the shop just cut it with a pair of scissors by eye. So again, you can see now, I will then make sure that everything I'm doing has got right angles. It will make it so much easier when I try to sew up later on. I've come up to there. and I've come up to there. Again, I want 2 bodies, 2 of these and 1 of them. So I'm going to pull that out, put that there again, line her up. Yep, she's looking good there. And then this time, because I want a body and the lid, I'm going to come right to the edge, okay? Then come all the way down, make sure it's a right angle. And they're all the way down this side. But now I want to mark just there, and just there where the lid's going to be. And again, if I flash that across, and do that, line the 2 parts up, right, body, lid, and it's how easy was that, just by using the cardboard cutout, okay? And again, when I cut it out, which I won't bore you by doing, and then sewing it up, each thing, it will just become square, and you've got like one side shorter than the other. What I will do, when I'm on here, is just mark off some spaces. This is just a piece of 25mm webbing. Okay, it does get a bit fiddly at times, you just got to stay with it. That's going to be the flap, so that's where the buckle's going to be. On this side, which will be the side towards his back, okay, I'm going to need to put at a slight angle the markings as to where I'm going to, well, if I do it horizontally, that'll be better. Let's just give me a rough guide, because I have to sew these on before. And that's so far in. I've done some markings that I can remember for later on. So that will be where the strap, it's probably not, the strap will go over, because this is the back. And on the front, I'm going to mark probably about here where I want the click fast buckle to go. Again, you can eye that up, doesn't have to be perfect. Well, you get sort of quite good at judging where things will be. Again, I'm going to have to sew the buckle on there, the straps that will go over, and the buckle on, not necessarily there, but these two. And then I will turn it over and then sew it all up so it becomes literally a bag then, or a sleeve. If you've done that, if you sewed this up now, that to there and that being the flap, you would think, blimey, I can't get that in the sewing machine and I can't get that on the sewing machine. So that's it for now, ladies and gentlemen. As we can see, I'll put them on there. Never what I do, because one of these is very, very sharp. That is, Keith's never going to have more than 4 or 5 knives, and that's how I've worked out how big I need this to be. And again, this is the sort of thing that people have said, you know, past, if you've got any experience, and I don't think I'm actually too experienced at all this, everything's self-taught, is how I've gone about that. So I found out my knives, it was roughly something that would be that size. I wanted it a little bit bigger, but the depth on that was more than fine, and I turned it into a cardboard template. 2 of them, you know, that's the front, and that's the back, and that's the flap. So I think that's about it for now. I'll bring you back when I get it on the sewing machine and start doing stuff. Obviously I'm just going to go around there very, very carefully with some very sharp, they're actually Frisco scissors, and cut that out, ladies and gents. But as we go along, you'll see why. I'll put them right out of the way. You're going to need to sew that on first, and the 2 shoulder strap bits on first, before you start sewing it up to actually make the bag there. Imagine trying to put that on the sewing machine to sew a buckle on there. It just don't happen. So a little bit of thoughtful, and the reason why I'm doing a quick how-to video. So I'll bring it back in a second when I've got it all cut out and on the machine and ready to do a bit of sewing. Right, ladies and gents, inside now is my old Fisher Rossmann. It's a new sewing machine. I'm not going to gab on about that because we've all got different sewing machines. all I'm going to do now is show you literally how I'm going to sew this on. So we're now looking at the inside of the satchel. I'm going to sew a pouch on the inside, and this is one of the first things I'm going to do. So as we turn round, that's going to be sewed all the way round, and that's where I'm going to sew the 25mm strap to take the Fastex buckle. So I'm going to put this on first and then sew the buckle on afterwards, making sure I don't go over each one. And all I'm going to do is line it up to my marks, like so. Do it by eye, stick it underneath the sewing machine. And when you always start a stitch with a sewing machine, all of them have got a back button, so do a few stitches, then push back, and that locks the stitch in for you, okay? This won't be taking too much pressure, so I'm only going to sew around it once. I've got a normal stitch, a straight line stitch, not a ziggy-zag, and here we go. Okay, make sure my cottons are there. I'm lined up, last final check, that's it. Going on, stop it there, just push it back, let it run over a few times, and then that's it. Using the line as a guide, feed it through the machine, and this machine's got some beautiful, awesome power. And I'm going to overlap it at the bottom bit where the material is. Again, come back over, and I've effectively locked that stitch in. So what I now need to do is fold this up very carefully. Like wifey's just walked in the room. Won't be long, Rosina. And then come down the bottom edge again. But when I do that, that's all going underneath the machine, not going to hurt me. Just make sure that's still lined up to that corner pocket. So again, dropping my foot down. I'm only coming a few millimetres in. From the half the foot to the other side of the foot is normally about 4 to 5 millimetres in a good guide. And again, I'm going to let it run over and then just take it back to lock the stitch. So if any one set of stitching comes undone, it won't affect the other one. They're not joined, they're locked off. And again, reverse. One more stitch, put that down again. As I said now, if I float that on flat, it'd be hard to get your hand in. So what I'm going to do is, there's the line. As I come down, I'm just going to lift that up a little bit. Can you see now there's a little bit of a smile in there? If I fold it down flat, it's hard to get your fingers in. So just do that, couple of millimetres. Makes a load of difference. And again, literally just come down and sew that in. Again, I'm going to take it back just to lock it off. Most sewing machines are a lot noisier than this one. And as I come to the top, that's going to take a bit of wear and tear, so I'm going to go up and down it using the back stitch a few times, ladies and gents. I can't help but get my fingers in the way, so you know, of the camera. So I'm just going to bring it up and down a few times, and that's it. Let's bring it up so I can actually free my cotton. Always have a nice pair of sharp scissors, just saves you so much grief and aggravation. Cut it off there, and obviously where you started from, cut them spare bits off there. I normally go, once I finish something, go around with a lighter and just burning off the bits of stray cotton. So therefore, that's going to be the front. Lid's going to go over, but inside Keith's now got a pouch where you can put small necker knives or anything you want in there. Like fire stills, that's a fire still Keith's made me, so they can be dropped in there and kept safe. And again, he doesn't have to stick his hand to the bottom of the bag where possible knives will be, which I'll cover later on. That's just a simple sewn on pouch. The next bit I'm going to do is sew this piece of 25mm webbing on here, and as you can see, I've sewed that pouch on first, because if I sewed that on and I didn't remember to bring it over, I would sew over the piece of material that I'm now going to do. So I'll get this lined up on the machine in a few seconds. And again, I want to fold that in so it's not in my way. I've already marked it off so I know where it is. And ladies and gentlemen, I'll just show you on this cotton here. When you cut the nylon, what you do is get yourself a lighter. It will fray. Get yourself a lighter and just give it a little heat up. Don't initially touch that because it'll be very hot, like I'm doing, but that's fine. So I've now sealed that edge. Okay, there's the mark I made. Again, this is on the front outside strap. It will become clear later on. And when I position it under the foot of me sewing machine, I will put it there and start there. Okay, so I'm starting upwards. Again, I'm not going to sew over that pouch because I've already done that pouch. But here on the sewing machine, I'm just going to make sure actually see this. Yeah, on this this has the zigzag function. Okay, so I'm going to put that. I want that on number 2. I normally find is best for this machine. And here, now the stitch length, I'm going to shorten the stitch length. Okay, that as I've gone round there was on number sort of 4 or 5. Okay, gives it a nice stitch pattern. But here, because I want these to be really robust, I'm going to take the stitch pattern down to 2. So that's 2 and 2. That's 2 zigzag and 2 stitch length. And I'll try and bring that forward. So I'm looking for a viewfinder for the first time. I'm not sure if that's going to show up. But no, it's not showing up. But as you can see, the 2 different colours. I don't know if you can pick it up on the machine there. But literally kind of replicate that. Right, and again, every time I start off a stitch, I take it backwards to lock it off, and then I come forward. So that's stitch engaged, and as you'll notice, that machine is going across in a zigzag fashion now. Excellent. I'm going to stop it there, lift the foot. It's not like going to be a Bergen strap or nothing, so I'm going to bring it down at an angle and then sew along the back again. So again, push it back, lock it, bring it forward. I go back one more, just give it a really nice firm stitch, go over, and then obviously because I need it to sew backwards, every machine's got one, I will start it off with the backwards sort of button pushed in to go backwards and forwards and really stitch that in. Again, nice and slow, take your time. And just to make that cross that I like to see on these things, come over and literally come across. So I've sewed a square and then it's a cross, or for all intents and purposes, something that would resemble a Union Jack in there. I'm not sure if you're picking that up, the difference is in the cotton. But again, it's hard to show here because black cotton on black cotton. That's it. I'll tell you what, it'll take a bit of a monkey's fist for somebody to rip that off there. As it comes off, so your machine does uncover, don't cut your cotton too small, and that's come off under there. Again, pull them both out, ready to go next time. And obviously from the other side you've got them 2 bits of material there you need to cut off, sorry, bits of cotton. And as we know, there's one on the inside. I like to see, certainly from the back, because it shows up a bit better. Not sure if you're catching that. Not a great deal of light in here. 2 ups and downs, and then a zigzag across that. So, ladies and gents, what I'm going to do with this is take this up and, quite conveniently, just tuck it in that pocket. Because last thing I want to do is to be sewing over this piece of strapping, which is something to be mindful as you're going on. But now, the next thing, obviously, if this was sewn up like it's going to be like that, I couldn't have sewn, you know, if I'd have sewn that up first, I couldn't have sewn the internal pocket on or the strap in there. But the next thing I need to do is the buckles for the back. So we're now looking at the back of it now, and that's going to be the lid. Okay, so I'm going to sew a buckle on this side and the strap in that will go around Keith's shoulders to the other side. And again, I'm still using strapping material, so as we know, as I said, what I like to do is keep it on the old zigzag functional stitch. And again, I'm going to do exactly the same, come up to about there, close as I can get to the buckle. Make sure it's at an angle, because that will be wanting to go around his shoulder. I will then, to make that 90 degrees up, and just pull that round so it's almost, well, it's coming across at an angle but vertically. Okay, little details like that don't matter, it's just how you like to finish stuff. But again, I'm going to start a stitch and then go back and then come forward a few times, then do a zig and a zag. And I can't help but my fingers, I have to hold this so I know. Right, some people will be happy with that one, but I pull it around and then I'm going to sew down again pulling that in, make sure it's all nice. Starting stitch, there's my back stitch, nice and slow. You just go forward, backwards and forwards a few times. That's it. I'm going to pull it round again, and again, so it's still coming on straight, even though the whole thing, I'm sewing this on at a perpendicular angle, so it helps go over Keith's shoulder. Again, start. Once it's stopped there, just to make the cross again. Oh, always meant to put your foot down. And that's that. Right, what I will do, ladies and gents, is leave that there. Okay, I'm taking my cottons off, it's quite important to do. The cottons off there. Is you just see me do, I'm not going to start replicating stuff. That's the pull down bit of the fast X buckle. So with this, I'm going to do exactly the same with a long strap of buckle on that side, and I'm sure you don't want to sit there and see me do that. Okay, so that's the corresponding buckle, and I'll just be sewing it on there for now then, yeah, and then I'll come back to you with the next thing that I'm going to do. So that's having to sew stuff, a load of it, on while it's flat, because you can't do it while it's made up. So take care. Right ladies, I'm joined by my most able and beautiful assistant, Booty, a boxer dog. She may want to appear on this video, but literally that's what I've got now. I've got my buckles on, my inside pouch. The only danger point when I sew this up, and you sew it up inside out, you see the shiny bit? Yeah, you've got to turn it inside out and then sew it up, so the outside is on the inside. I've marked it off. That's what you're looking at there is the lid, and this is going to be the sides. So I'm going to sew down all the way down that one side, okay, and keeping it together. Only danger point I've got to do is not go over any of the strapping that I've first actually sewn on there. And believe me, you will do it at times, because that's how you learn not to do it. Oh, my foot's come off. Wait a moment. Sorry, the foot's come off the machine there. Right, so I'll pick it up again, line it all up, get my buckles out of the way because I'm going down that one side. And again, there's that faint chalk line that gives me an indication of where my flat's going to be. So once I've got it under the machine, it's a simple stitch line all the way up. I'm going to make sure, and this is what I said earlier on, use a cardboard template. All this is lining up now because it's all square. If you try and do it with a ruler and a set square, unless you've got this big flat dressmaking table, I don't think you can really do it. But these two lines here are almost identical, okay? So it's a simple matter to sew up and down there. And this is the inside, you're looking at the inside of the pouch now. This is inside, and that's the internal pouch. Again, this is point of the how-to. It takes a little while to work out how to do something. For me, sometimes that's the fun of how to do it. We're going to run one line of stitching here because this will be stitched over again, but from the outside. So, let that off. I always make a point of going and grabbing the spare bits of cotton. It's not an OCD thing, it just saves you sewing over your cotton again at another time. So I'm going to line it up. I'm just going to come from the bottom this time. Doesn't really make no odds. I want it exactly the same length as that one. And all I'm doing is this time, just to make it easier to go through the machine on the left hand side, is, and I'm happy with that being there. Right. So again, it's nice to put a few marks on it, so I know exactly where it's going to be. Yeah, and again, both these sides are lining up, i.e. these two pieces of material here that you can see me, they're lining up nicely, and that's the reason, as I said earlier on, it's always nice to get a bit of cardboard that you know is square and make yourself a template and then draw around that template. And if you've only got a home sewing machine, and this is only a home sewing machine, although it's quite a robust one, try and work it out so you're not sewing through layer upon layer of material. And when I hit here, I'm just going to lock that stitch in. Hear a bit of noise in the background, that's my Boxer Princess playing with her ball. Probably a bit miffed that I won't go and play with her. So, no straps been sewn, got the buckle out of the way. There it is. As you can see now, light's not brilliant in here, I can't do much about that. But there's the actual pouch sewn up the sides. But it's inside out at the moment, and there's the lid. Inside out at the moment. There's the internal pocket for keys fire stills. So hand inside, right to the corner, grab it and pull it the right way out. And so getting right in that corner there, pushing that corner right out again. Probably mad, bloke on the sewing machine, but and again I'm just making sure that corner bit is helping me. You can't see my dog, she thinks this is brilliant. So ladies and gentlemen, when I've turned it the right way up, there's the shoulder strap that will go over and attach to that. Again, that going over Keith's body. Here we see the pouch. Okay, that will come down. As you'll see, there'll be a buckle sewn to that. That's the piece that will go up and secure the buckle. And here we see the pouch in its infancy. Now, when we get this join here, I'll try and bring it a bit closer. What I normally do, and you'll see me do now, is sew down that side again. So I've sewn it there, and just to seal it off, make it look a bit nice, and it will add to the strength of the actual seam, is to go down it and sew it again, which I'll bring you back and when I've got it all lined up. But literally I've turned it inside out, so it's the right way out now. There's the buckle strap, there's the flap. I'm just going to sew down the side, turn it out and do exactly the same I did, and then sew down the side again. So I'll bring you back when I'm ready to do that. Okay, got it all set up on the machine, right way out now. This is the actual outside of the bag. Going to run a stitch line down where I've sewed it earlier on, another one down that side, but I'll stop in a moment and show you how I'm just going to finish that off by edging the flap as we go down. You can't see it because it's not in screen, but taking it nice and tight to the edge. So I'm sewing through 4 layers of material. Right, move my buckle out of the way, which is always going to be under there. Bit of a pain, but there's nothing you can do about it. Now when I finish here, this is the flap. I'm going to take the flap and just give it an edge like that. Does that make sense? Just pulling it over. Go back. This will be the inside. So I'm just going to come round, sew it down, going back, and when I do this, I'm now going to come down this side. So all I've done is taken a short angle, and it's probably what, 15mm in from the side. Just make it like an envelope, the back of an envelope. So that will come down and sew all the way down here, and I'm going to go down this seam again just because I can. I like to have things nice and robust. So this is forming the edge. And again, I've already sewn this seam once, so I'm going to go around it, just down it again. Might as well, don't hurt. Like I say, quite impressed with the amount of material this machine will take. Decent needles help as well, people. You can get robust needles. And as I come to the end, as always, just back it up a little bit and that's seal that off. Now I'm going to do exactly the same with the other side, okay? So I'm not going to get you watching both bits. Okay, and pull them a little all bits of cotton off. And again, every time you're doing this, putting it through, make sure you don't sew through any of your buckles at the side or the back. So ladies and gents, as you can see that now, I've sewn down that side, and then all I've done is turn that bit of the lid open, and at some point, as you'll see me do, I'll turn that over so that nicely hems my lid. I'm going to do exactly the same to the other side, okay? So I'm not going to show you that twice. Right, ladies and gents, there's the back of it. And I couldn't sew them on now, okay? That's the buckle, there's the shoulder strap, that's me boxer dog playing with a ball in the background, that'll attach later on. There's the front, there's the strap that's going to close it, and as you say, I've just slightly angled off, and I hope you can see the difference in the two textures of the actual lid, sewn it off. So now all I need to do is literally turn that over and do the same to the lid, sew that down. And I normally do it what you want. I normally do it about a foot's width. As you put it on your sewing machine, the actual gives you a nice 5 sort of to 6mm. Again, hold it in. I'm just going to sew that down to edge that. Right, and there you go. That can be one of the frustrating things now. I'll leave it on there. Me cotton's come unthreaded, so I'll bring it back in a minute, because I'll probably swear it, because with my eyes I can't get the thing to thread through the needle. So I'll bring it back in a sec, okay? And all that's happened is me cotton's come unthreaded. Right, back again. Went through quite easily this time. So I'm just going to fold it over that little bit, and I say, 5mm is more than enough for me. Put it on my machine. I'm going to run it one way and then the other, and you'll see what I mean. It makes a really nice tight fold over. So there we go, and as I say, always go back and lock your stitch. And again, I'm guiding it through, and I'm determining how much I'm actually turning it over. Go and lock that again. So now what I'm going to do is literally turn it over and just run down this edge, the very far edge. That's about 5mm in. I just find that makes a nice tight seal to a top or a flap of whatever you're trying to make. So I'm coming down the very near edge now, okay? I've done this 5mm in, and here we go. Go and lock it. Some people wouldn't see the need to do this extra bit of stitching there. It just makes it a little bit neater, a little bit tidier, and I like it. So there we go. As I say, always pays to cut your cottons off as you go along. That way they don't feed underneath. And the ones that start off ones on the other side. There's going to be bits of cotton left later on, little bits, but then you just get a lighter and go around after all. So there we go, ladies and gentlemen. There is the pouch. It's not showing up really on black, is it? There's a pouch on the inside, and that's my flap. Okay, you can see now I would have trouble sewing them on if I'd already sewed it up into a pouch. So I did that before, and I'd struggled to get the sewing machine down to there to sew that one on. Okay, hence that's why you do it inside out and sew your accessories on straight, early on if you can. But there we see. All I need to do now to finish that is to get that buckle and sew that buckle onto the top of, it's hard to hold and do, and that will thread through, and just pull it down to make the sheath, the satchel. Okay. I'm quite happy with that size as it goes. Don't want it too big, too small. You can have it a bit too deep, but you don't want it too short. So I'll bring it back in a second, just to show you the final bit of sewing that buckle on. There's Buddy, my boxer princess. She says she wants to star in the video. Hello, Mrs. Jokes. I may or may not include that. All right, ladies and gents. As I said, there's the satchel, as I'll call it. Building this one for Keith, but it can be an easy to knock up satchel for anybody if you wanted to do that. All I'm going to do now is and I can do it. I would have done it before, but I can do it afterwards because I can get it under the machine. Is sew the Fastex buckle onto there so it can go up, and that will be the closure. If you can get there, it will make sense later on. Again, I put preliminary markings on it, but when you want to know, I want that in the centre because I know that one's in the centre because I did exactly the same. Is fold it in half, drew it so it's directly in half, so it's directly down the middle of that flap, and I've done a vertical line and a T-shaped line just to mark where I'm going to put that buckle. And that's all that little bit of experience to do. It's okay to sort of guess it or judge it, and then you realise you've sewn the buckle on ski with, and you go, oh blimey, I've done all that work and it turned out to be not very good, and you get a little bit disillusioned. So again, I'm putting exactly on that T-bar, right in the middle. I'm quite confident that's going to be in the centre. And again, I'm going to adjust the machine because I want zigzag again. So your one will have different dials on it, machine, and I'm going to bring that down to number 2 stitching. So that's 2 and 2. That'll give me a nice zigzag. Go and keep saying it, but don't forget it. If you go back and lock the stitch. And again, make sure the needle's inside the fabric so it won't. Just bring that back at an angle. So I'll do 2 lines across. Now make sure it's in the material, bring it up, turn it round, and obviously I'm going to start off going backwards, and every machine's got one. There's my one. Push that bottle, sorry, the button. Let it come forward. Just lock the stitch, forwards and back, and just there I'm going to bring it over just to make the crisscross. Okay, and this is not like, I would definitely do this on tree huggers and stuff like that, and I know that where the stitch line is going to take a lot of pressure, but I just like to finish it off like that. Lift my needle all the way up, bring it out, and cut all your cottons. I always make a point of doing that, just sort my machine out, ready to go. It's like your rifle, it's always clean and ready to go. You can't see it here, just give us a moment. I'm threading up this buckle. It's a simple ladder lock buckle. So there you go, ladies and gents. There's the back. In fact, I'll thread that one up as well. And there we go, there's the ladder lock buckle at the back, and they're the bits that I had to sew on before I started. So that's a shoulder strap. There's the closure strap. I thought about putting Velcro on it, make it too flash and fancy, it doesn't really need it. Once this goes over, there's no way that will be able to, a knife or a large item will come out of that. And obviously, as he wants to, he just pulls it down as much as he needs to with a ladder lock buckle. So ladies and gentlemen, there's a very simple, easy to do. Wife's just had a little giggle with me, said you're making handbags and putting them on the internet. But obviously we know that as a field pack or a satchel. Very, very easy to make. I'll probably just stick it on and finish off this video because it's as much a message to... Right, ladies and gents, the back room we have a camera run out, but here we are, a simple satchel or handbag, as my good lady wife who's holding the camera and smiling at me saying. I'll show you this because I'm going to now do something different to this that's going to help Keith out. Okay, so here we are, it is a satchel. There's the front, there's the back. You could put a 40mm a wider strap on there if you wanted to, but primarily I'm designing this and doing this for Keith as a way of transporting knives safely for him. Now when we went from putting knives in something like that and carrying them about, this is, you know, burger material, 100 Cordura nylon, but sharp knives will go through this. So on that, ladies and gents, there's a simple way to make up, wasn't too difficult. a bushcrafting type satchel. You know, if you wanted green material, DPM material, obviously you source it on eBay the same as what I do. If you watch this video and you do make something like this, go and stick it on. I'd like to know, because I have a load of people that ask me to show how I do things or how I make things, and perhaps, I don't know, that's my little niche in bushcrafting or whatever. I like making my own stuff. But so that's it, ladies and gentlemen. Inside here, put the knife down. I'm going to talk about safety. Inside there is a big old roomy pocket, and I've made it flat. And inside there's a pouch inside a pouch, so Keith's fire steels and smaller knives can go in there, and then you've still got the main compartment there. But herein lies the problem. I'll go out of shot for a minute. Keith will now be putting the knives in like that, because most of them come with the sheaths, because he's a knife maker. Keith doesn't do the sheaths themselves, so there you go. So Keith, that's a lot safer than your old one, which was just the little drawstring bag that I've showed you, mate. Okay, could have an nylon, so it's quite tough, mate, but it will eventually work through there. But I'm not happy, mate, with this. And if I'd have made it when I said I would have made it, mate, I wouldn't have thought of this. It's now, watch, it's that simple operation, and this is only for Keith, it's when you're putting your hand in and there's sharp blades in there. Your blades come in two sets of sharpness, Keith, like razor sharp and surgical sharp, mate. So I'm not that happy that you're putting your hand in there and there may not be a sheath knife for you to pull it out, mate. So that will be part 2 of this video. But for everybody else, if you just wanted to make a simple bushcrafting type satchel, hold all, shoulder bag, handbag, she's smiling at me, there you go, ladies and gentlemen. There's a front and there's a back. It's simple, very robust, and well, don't really cost much more than the material if you do it yourself. So to everybody else, I'll do another few more of these videos as I'm making stuff for people, and take care, and I hope it's been of help to you, and take care. Right, ladies and gents, just bringing it back now to the making of the satchel that Keith, 0 pence, is going to use to carry his knives about. Should I have done it quickly thereafter at the time, you would have just seen the satchel, because that's all we talked about. But a little bit of thought, work and other things gets in the way. So even from the last video that you've seen, it's a good 6 or 7 days since I've been able to get any real work done. So the satchel that you've seen, that's fine. What I want and I don't want is Keith sticking his hand into that satchel where there is a possibility of unsheathed knives there. Again, Keith makes wonderful knives, and it's his friend that makes the sheaths for him. So I was going to put an insert there that would give him a lot more protection. And again, this is about how I make stuff and my train of thought behind why I would do something. So here we have, again, it's all measured out by the knives, if that makes sense. I've cut out a piece of black DPM Cordura nylon material, and what basically I'm going to do is, I've got some markings on there. I'm not going to talk you through stuff I've done. Everything will be hemmed. There will be at least 3 parts where Keith can slip knives into, and then slip this inside the satchel. However, one thing I'm going to sort of do is have a piece of yellow tape going across there. This is like a 25mm webbing. Found it quite cheaply on the market, just had a meter in a bit, so I ain't going to use a lot of it, but certainly to show where the edge and the knives go in. But again, when I'm going to do this, I would need to hem that 5mm, sew that across, so it will be like that. Then, because we sew things inside out, there's just some measurements that I've taken. There's my line. That would be there. Then I would just sew it up to there, and then fold it in slightly, which will be the other side. Then I would once that's sewed up, and you've seen me do it before, exactly the same way as I did the satchel, on the inside out, remembering anything on here or there would need to be sewn on before you did that. So literally, once that's sewn up, then that is exactly what you'd have. And again, I'd hem it nicely, put a 5mm edging all the way around here, reinforce these seams again. Gents, ladies, you've all seen me do that before, and this is what I want to do. So this then would be the insert. Keith would go in and his hand would pull this out, not an individual knife or blade. And just to save a little bit of time, because it is going on a little bit longer, those of you here in the UK remember Blue Peter. So here is one. I think my boxer dogs and my staff is going to join me. I've done earlier on, just to save a little bit of time. So here it is, something special for Keith. I know he appreciates things that are handmade, especially when a little bit of thought goes into it. We've all seen Keith give out a zillion of his knives and modify both my knives. And I remember Sandy up north, Keith, it was his, wife's put the kettle on there, you know, an old scout knife that his father had given him many moons ago. And you know, within minutes, mate, you said, you know, you send that to me and I would be a pleasure to sort that out for him, mate, and you did. And so this isn't just for me, Keith, this is just something, what goes round comes round, mate. So there's the satchel. So no longer does Keith have to stick his hands inside. All he needs to do is locate the yellow pull tab and pull out the insert. So this is what it looks like once it's, again, I'm not claiming this is anything SAS, anything too special. There's a few loose bits of cottons I've got to go around, but from that it's sewed into that. So ladies and gentlemen, all we've got there is an insert. There's the MOD survival knife, there's the biggest one. I've just thrown a few steak knives in here. Keith, you could get obviously quite a few knives in here, mate, and remembering you've still got that pocket on the inside should you need to use that, mate, for your smaller knives, your neckers or your fire steels. Keith, the only thing I would say to do, mate, and I know you can do it, is you could make, you know, with the actual tubing that you have, mate, that you make the knife sheaths out of with the heat gun, you could actually make a few sleeves to fit various size knives. So it's just going into a bit of plastic and pinched at the bottom, mate. So that's something, if you really wanted to go uber safety, you could do, mate. So as opposed to you sticking your hand inside to a dark black bag, mate, what I've done is made an insert that will go in there, and it will go in. Okay, mate, it will tag up. It's exactly what you want it, mate. You open it, locate that, mate, and literally, obviously, it will just pull out under its own steam. So, and there you go there, mate. So you can have as many knives as you want in there, mate. You never got more than half a dozen, and there's, what, 5, 6 in there at the moment, mate. Like the idea of the tubing, mate, so you're not doing that. You can identify where the actual fold is in the material, and you can take your knives out and do it, mate. You can push it in there flat as you want, mate, or if you wanted to do that, stick that inside. Oop. And away we go, mate. Doing her up. Going plenty of adjustment on this buttle. Over your shoulder, mate, and away you go. So there you go, Keith. Take me a little while, I know, mate, but there you go. That's just the way things happen. And certainly I would have thought to have sent you that as opposed to that as well, mate. So this is, you know, I've sat there one day and I just thought about that. Blimey, that would be a good idea. So Keith, if you want to put some plastic inserts in here, mate, absolutely brilliant idea, I think. But that is far, far safer for your hands as a craftsman, so you're not going to stick your hands inside there, mate, and perhaps get caught by one of your blades. And so there you go, Keith. The only thing I'll say is, mate, it's just coming up before Christmas, 22nd, mate. Postman's a good friend of mine. You do not dream of sending anything to parcels, and I've got a couple to send out. I've been had a day and a half of making stuff till about the 4th or 5th of January. There's a huge, massive backlog in all postal services, mate, and all courier firms. So there you go. That's for you, Keith. But anybody, because I do get a load of people asking me, how do I do that, how do I do this? There's a simple Mac type wad, something I've done for a mate, one off. You won't get it anywhere else, and you can't buy it anywhere else. Max Expedition quality, probably not, but it will certainly get the job done, and I'm sure Keith will make good use of that. I will be making a few more videos of stuff that I will make for people. The next thing I'm going to make is a squirrel cooker sleeve, okay? And obviously it's going to go up in bushcrafting page. I'll clearly label it, and hopefully you have. You're not sat here and watch this thinking it's bushcrafty. It has a bushcrafty taint on it. But anyway, there you go, Keith. You know, about 7th, it's somewhere like the 10th of January you'll get that, mate. But hopefully that's of interest to you, ladies and gentlemen. I know Lone Wolf, Ginger brews, and a load of people starting to get machines and sort of make stuff for themselves. So just a little mythology of how and why, and how I sort of get things done. And with me, there's always an old saying, Rome wasn't built in a day. So anyway, ladies and gents, take care, and if I don't do a video before, I hope everybody has a happy Christmas and a very safe and well, content, prosperous new year. So take care and be safe, everybody. Matt Tightwood out.